Are we the most violent species? Hi, you're a human, one of 8 billion walking around this rock floating in space. Now, here's a fun existential question. Are we the most violent species in this aforementioned rock? It feels like we should be, right? We've got wars, of both the nuclear and Twitter varieties. That and humans have spent centuries inventing more efficient ways to inflict pain. Some of the brightest minds in history have looked at the world and gone, how can I make this explode better? But why are we like this? And is there a species out there possibly worse than us? First up, let's get our terms straight. Aggression and violence aren't exactly the same thing. Aggression is a broader term covering behaviors from threat displays to physical fights over the last slice of pizza. And aggression often serves some purpose like getting food, securing a mate, or defending territory. Violence, on the other hand, is full send. Think of it as aggression with brakes cut off. So, are we humans naturally violent? Let's check the archaeological receipts. Jebel Sahaba, Egypt, 14,000 years ago. More than half of the 59 skeletons there died violently. Some still had weapons embedded in their bones. That's history's first confirmed group battle site. This is considered to be the first proven case of collective violence between groups of humans. But that's nothing compared to the Nadaruk site in Kenya, where a massacre occurred 10,000 years ago. The skeletal remains of 28 individuals, including adults and children, showed evidence of violent trauma from weapons like arrows, clubs, and sharp stones. And wait, it gets worse. In northern Spain, 430,000 years ago, one unfortunate human ancestor got their skull caved in what looks like 2 deliberate blows. Someone really didn't like this early human. This suggests violence might have been baked into our species since way back. And just when you thought it couldn't get darker, cannibalism. Sometimes it was for survival. Famine, shipwrecks, the usual nightmare fuel. Other times it was cultural. Some societies practiced funerary cannibalism to honor the dead. Others ate their enemies to absorb their power. That's right, the Aztecs and maybe even the Celts were out here making dinner out of their problems. And then there was medicinal cannibalism. Europeans and Chinese folk were eating human body parts to cure what ailed them. Want to feel better? Have a sprinkle of powdered skull. Yeah, the 1800s were wild. And finally, there's pathological cannibalism, which is associated with sexual gratification or severe mental disorders. Think Jeffrey Dahmer, but actually let's not think about that too much. So what's actually going on in our brains when we get violent? Turns out, there's a whole cocktail of brain regions, neurotransmitters, and hormones involved. Well, we have key brain regions like the amygdala, which processes emotions and detects threats. The prefrontal cortex, which is supposed to control our impulses, but sometimes goes on a coffee break. The hypothalamus, which controls basic drives including hunger, sex, and rage. And the limbic system? That's your drama center, emotions and memories, all in one spicy bundle. Then come the chemicals. Serotonin is your brain's chill pill. Dopamine and norepinephrine? Not so chill. They hype you up. Hormones get in on the action too. Testosterone tends to crank up aggression. And weirdly, low cortisol, the stress hormone, is also linked to people who lash out a lot. But here's the really weird part. Some scientists think humans actually enjoy violence. Our brains may literally reward it. Studies show that the brain's reward pathways involving neurotransmitters like dopamine are activated during aggressive behavior. It's called appetite for aggression. You don't lash out because you're scared or angry. You lash out because it feels good. Dopamine lights up the reward centers in your brain. It's like your brain goes, "You hit something! Nice job!" Why would evolution give us that feature? Well, back in the day, being good at hunting, violent, bloody, stressful hunting, meant you ate. And if you ate, you survived. So maybe your brains learned to love the hunt. But okay, let's be fair. Other animals are violent too, maybe even more so. Let's look at the numbers. Believe it or not, the title of the most murdery mammal on Earth goes to the meerkat. Yeah, those little Lion King weirdos. About 1 in 5 meerkats, mostly infants, are killed by members of their own species. Within their matriarchal social system, the dominant female usually prevents subordinate females from mating. If a subordinate gives birth anyways, the alpha female will often kill and eat the pups. This ensures more resources for her own young. After meerkats, several varieties of primates top the murder rankings, including monkeys and lemurs. As many as 17% of deaths in some lemur species result from lethal violence. That cute little lemur with the big eyes? Straight up killer. Some other violent species might surprise you too, such as sea lions, chinchillas, gazelles, and squirrels. Yes, squirrels. Never trust those twitchy little tails. And then there are our closest relatives, chimpanzees. They engage in what scientists literally call warfare, in which males patrol borders in groups and ambush outsiders from rival communities. It's organized, strategic, and brutally efficient. Sound familiar? Yeah, chimps are basically just hairy humans without iPhones and more tree climbing skills. But for truly out there violence, let's head into the insect kingdom. Things get weird. Enter sexual cannibalism. It's a thing in various insects and arachnid species, including praying mantises, black widow spiders, jumping spiders, and sagebrush crickets. In this behavior, one mate, typically the female, consumes the other before, during, or after intercourse. A very literal take on till death do us part. But why would a female eat her mate? Well, there are a few theories. One is the adaptive foraging hypothesis. Basically, the female needs nutrition to support egg production, and what better source of protein than the male who just fertilized her eggs? Another theory is that it's a form of mate choice. Consuming less desirable males ensures only the fittest get to reproduce. Males of these species aren't completely clueless about the potential fate. Some males try to avoid it, bringing food offerings, sneaking up while the female's distracted. Others just accept their fate. So, how do humans stack up? Across more than 1,000 species, humans sit around number 30 in terms of in-species lethal violence. So, not the worst, but definitely creative. We've got an unmatched range of motivations for violence. Other animals fight for food, territory, or mates. Humans? We fight for abstract ideas. Honor, revenge, ideology, God, justice, parking spots. Sometimes just the pure enjoyment of it. And then there's the scale of violence. While some animal species like chimpanzees and ants exhibit coordinated attacks, the scale of these conflicts are generally limited. Humans, on the other hand, are capable of organizing violence at mass, including warfare involving millions of individuals and the use of devastating weaponry. No ant colony has ever developed nuclear weapons. Yet. Humans are also uniquely cruel. Torture, genocide, and other forms of deliberately inflicted suffering seem to be uniquely human behaviors. While other animals can be brutal, they generally don't prolong suffering for its own sake. But the real plot twist is how human violence has evolved throughout history. The medieval period was a particular killer, with human-on-human violence responsible for a whopping 12% of recorded deaths. But for the last century, we've been relatively peaceful, killing one another off at a rate of just 1.33% worldwide. And in the least violent parts of the world today, we enjoy homicide rates as low as 0.01%. We've come a long way from the days of plague, childbirth, famine, bloody revolts, wars, religious crusades, family blood feuds, and brawls. And this is a crucial point. While other animals are pretty much stuck with their biological tendencies, humans can change. As Spanish researcher Jose Maria Gomez puts it, evolutionary history is not a total straitjacket on the human condition. Humans have changed and will continue to change in surprising ways. No matter how violent or pacific we were in origin, we can modulate the level of interpersonal violence by changing our social environment. We can build a more pacific society if we wish. Keywords, if we wish. And now, the final paradox. Are we the most violent species? Statistically, no. But it's complicated. We're masters at organizing and amplifying violence through culture and technology. As anthropologist Richard Wrangham points out, humans are different from other primates in that we frequently kill each other as adults. In chimpanzees and other primates that kill each other, infanticide is the most common form of killing. But humans are in what he calls the adult killing club, a very small group that includes wolves, lions, and spotted hyenas. Perhaps the most unique aspect of human violence is what Wrangham calls proactive aggression, the cold, calculating type of violence with a goal in mind. While most animals mainly engage in reactive aggression, the hot emotional kind, humans excel at planning violence in advance. This cold type of aggression fuels terrorism, school shootings, and wars. We can sit down, plan out violence, and execute it without any immediate threat or provocation. That's pretty unusual in the animal kingdom. But it's not all bad news. Humans also have an exceptional capacity for empathy, cooperation, and peacemaking. The same big brains that allow us to plan elaborate violence also let us create complex social systems that reduce violence. The decline in violence over recent centuries suggests that we're getting better at this. There's a story said to be of Cherokee origin that speaks to this matter. A young girl was troubled by a recurring dream in which two wolves fought viciously with each other. When she told her grandfather, a village elder renowned for his wisdom, he explained that there are two wolves inside everyone, one peaceful and the other warlike. The girl asked which one wins. Her grandfather's response, the one you feed. So, if we're talking about the sheer percentage of our species that dies from violence inflicted by our own kind, then no, humans are not the most violent. Meerkats, lemurs, and some other animals have us beat. But if we're talking about the scale, complexity, and impact of our violence, then maybe yes. No other species has devoted as much time to finding ways to end life. In the end, perhaps what makes us unique isn't our capacity for violence, but our capacity to reflect on it, to study it, and ultimately, to choose whether to engage in it. No other species is having a YouTube video made about whether they're too violent. If you enjoyed this video, hit and smash that subscribe button, in a non-violent way of course. And check out our other, slightly less violent videos. Stay curious, fossil files.